we had a good weekend here at home at the Arturo Barrios meet. It's the best the field's ever been since we started hosting the meet a few years back, and the men won pretty handily. We were, I think, we almost doubled the score of Ohio State, who was second on the men's side. On the women's side, we ran without our top runner and had. Actually, almost everything that could go wrong went wrong. We still were able to finish fourth out of, I believe, 40 schools, and we're not that far behind Florida, who's obviously one of the teams we're chasing in the SEC, but we were able to beat a couple SEC opponents in LSU and Vanderbilt. So heading into the championship time of the year with a little bit of momentum, and so we're excited. This weekend will be the first step in Oxford, Mississippi at the SEC championships, and then 2 weeks after that, we host the NCAA South Central Regional here at home. So we're running well when it matters, and so we're excited to see what happens over the next few weeks.
We have a question from Travis Brown for the Eagle up front, and then Zach.
Hey, Wendell. I know what y'all finished last year. What makes you think that this year will be a year to make some steps forward?
Well, we've done some things a little bit differently. We've got another year of experience on our belt. On the men's side, we had a few pretty significant pieces in the way a couple of our transfers have run. Frankie Romano, who transferred in as he's a grad transfer from Eastern Illinois, really did a nice job this past weekend, has been kind of gradually getting better and better as the year goes on. Shannon Chikaro transferred in from school about 80 miles southwest of here. He's been running pretty well for us and been either second, third, or fourth man for us all year long. And just really good depth overall. And I think this group has matured on both the men's and the women's side. You know, it's they kind of have started to understand that, hey, we don't have to do anything different. You know, I think last year during track season we saw a little bit of that transformation. Going to the SEC Outdoor Championships, where all of a sudden athletes started to realize, oh, you know, I can run with everybody in this conference, and I'm just as good as people that were high school All-Americans out and big names on the national scene, that maybe I'm just as good as that person with a few years of training under my belt. So, you know, we faced some good competition this year. We kind of mixed up the schedule a little bit by going up to Paul Short to see, kind of get forced into an uncomfortable situation. And so, you know, I think the group's got great momentum, ran the best we've run at the Barrios meet heading into this time of year than we've ever done before. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of good momentum, and we're excited about it.
And in the same token, how has Eric improved as a runner himself this
year? Well, the biggest thing was he's, I think I said this earlier in the year, that it wasn't hyperbole last year when I thought he was one of the best runners in the country, how well he ran early in the season, but I think he had such a chip on his shoulder and so determined to kind of prove that he was good that he ran out of gas by the time the end of the season. Now he got sick as well, so there's other things built in there. But this year he's been really patient, and you know, we'll see if that pays off. You know, I mean, he finished second at Barrios we lost a shoe with about 3K to go. Once I realized he lost his shoe, I actually ran out on the course and asked him how his foot was, because the last thing I wanted him to do was get hurt 2 weeks before the SEC championships. And it turns out we would have won the meet. Even if he had dropped out, we still would have won the men's race. So he's definitely matured. His approach has matured. You know, I think on paper you know, they've got these computer rankings. I think they've got him picked to finish maybe 7th or 8th in the league. If he so I think that's based on what he's done so far this season. So I think he's capable of even more than that. But we'll see. He's got to stick his nose in there and compete and control the controllables. And that's what we've talked a lot about this year. Like we don't have to do anything special come SEC championships. Just like every other meet, we've kind of progressed through the year. And so back to your initial question, like one of the things that I really was impressed by, like we finished 4th at the the Barrios meet on the women's side. And while I wasn't ecstatic with finishing 4th necessarily, one of the things that I was really impressed with is you know, we ran without Grace Plain. Then we had Abby Santoro, who was our number 2 runner, who could very well be our number 1 runner. She got knocked down with 200 meters into the race, so bad she ended up after the race having to go get stitches. We had another girl who's normally a top 5 girl, weaving down the final straightaway, having some heat issues and stuff like that. And everybody has those kind of issues. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like where this team was 2 years ago, for example, that we would finish 20th instead of 4th, and that's kind of a testament to kind of their character, that they're not going to get knocked down. Like the whole Mike Tyson quote, everybody's got plans till they get punched in the face. Well, they got punched in the face, and they didn't walk away feeling great about it. But surprisingly, I started getting calls on Saturday afternoon and Sunday from coaches going, "Man, you guys ran great. You guys ran really well this weekend." And I was like, "Oh yeah, our men ran pretty well." I'm like, "But you're a women's coach. Why are you calling me?" And they're like, "No, I was talking about your women." And we after that race, getting 4th there, we moved up to number 2 in the regional rankings, which we walked away feeling like, we just ran okay. It was okay. But so, I don't know. We still got to run the race, and they got to do the things they're capable of doing. So on paper, we look like a team that should be men's side. We should be battling to be in the top 5. Women's side should be battling to be in the top 6, top 7. Which is not, it's not winning the meet, but is definitely a step in the right direction.
Let's go left side to Zach Taylor.
Made mention of Florida. Obviously, Vanderbilt also participating at the Barrios. So what else stands out to you about the field at the SEC Championship?
Well, I mean, on the men's side, Tennessee and Alabama, maybe Arkansas, really seem to be kind of the class of the field on paper. We've seen Arkansas this year early in the season, so I mean, I know our guys are kind of looking at Arkansas as a team that we're kind of chasing. They're also in our region, so that provides us with a little bit of kind of a carrot to chase on the men's side. On the women's side, the SEC is really deep on the women's side. I mean, it's just amazing. At the front, you have Alabama, which looks like a team that can battle for a national championship. Arkansas is always good. Ole Miss is pretty good. I know I'm missing somebody. Somebody will be mad that I didn't talk about them or something like that. Tennessee's getting better. Kentucky's pretty good. So, on paper, Vanderbilt's supposed to get, I think, 5th or 6th in the conference. We beat them pretty handily at home. Now, I know they had a rough day. They didn't walk away from our meet feeling pretty good about how things went. So I'm sure they're going to regroup and be ready to run even better at the SEC meet. We saw LSU. LSU had a few missing pieces at the Barrios meet. But he's a really good coach and does a really good job getting his kids ready. So they'll be, those are 2 teams that beat us last year at the SEC meet, and we handled them pretty easy. I shouldn't say easily. We beat them by quite a bit at the Barrios meet. But you got to still step up and take care of business when it matters. Florida's not that far ahead of us. Especially we throw Grace Plain in the mix and stuff like it. But I'm sure when Florida walked away from the meet, they're probably like, "Oh, this girl didn't run that well. Or this girl could have done better," and stuff like that. So it's all a matter of when you get to the championship time of the season, just kind of relaxing and focusing on what you can control and not. And I talk to our kids a lot about, the catchphrase. I guess over the last several years, I think Nick Saban said it, and that became, and then everybody's got to use it as the process. And I hate 2 terms I hate. I hate people. I think terms that people overuse. They overuse culture and they overuse process, and sometimes they just throw them out there and stuff. But I've talked to a lot of our athletes about, we're going to be better. We're an outcome-oriented sport, but we're going to be a lot better if we don't focus only on the outcome. We focus on how we're going to get there, and so that's behavior that I've got to model as the coach as well. And so I've talked to them all year, in previous years too, but definitely this year I've talked about, hey, we need to set goals, obviously, and they need, and actually our team does a really good job. I let them set the goals, but the only way we're going to achieve those goals is by focusing on what we can control and what we can do and the steps along the way and the journey along the way, and by becoming a better team every day, not just on meet day. It's the stuff we do in training. It's the stuff we do when we're sitting around talking to one another. It's the stuff we do, how we talk to ourselves even as people, and how we view ourselves. All those kind of things are part of being ready on when it matters and stuff. And I've seen growth all year long in that. So, and we saw growth last year, and it didn't turn out at the end of the season the way we wanted it to turn out. But I've seen a lot more this year, and as we continue to mature and continue to get better and better. So.
Okay. That's a wrap, Coach.
All right. Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
very much.